introduce yourself for us, what titles and what companies you are working in right now. So let me start with Nazif.
Thank you, Professor. And I just want to begin by saying it's so nice to be back inside a classroom after such a long time. But so hi, everyone. My name is Nazif Alam. I'm working for a company called Reynolds American, which is owned by British American Tobacco, the second largest tobacco company in the world. I am working as a project lead for the strategic accounts team, and my job circles around understanding business insights that we get from our data and then communicating them to the internal stakeholders within the company.
Welcome,
Nazif. I have to say I was proud to be a part of Professor Lee's class in fall last year.
Well, hey, good morning, everyone. As you said, it's great to be back. And I know how it feels because I'm pretty sure last year, same time, we were at your position. And I think Pramath was the one who was in our position. He was still guiding us as to how he went through the entire thing. And it's great to be back. So my name is Vedant, and I'm working as a lead data analyst for a company called Shop LC. So my job right now is here's the worst part of being data analyst. You get tossed around between departments. Right now, my job involves the two departments I'm working for is OTT and affiliates. So my major job is to find out, my company works in retail, and my major job is to find out how many households do we have and analyzing what are the purchasing patterns between those households around the country. So we are around at 50 million households, and I have to know where's the purchasing power, what is the purchasing power coming from, and how can we expand in areas that we're not covering, and what should be the ideal strategy to do that.
All right, thank you. And you're in Texas, right?
Yes, I'm in Texas.
Wow. So is it 10:30? Is 9:30?
It's 9:30.
Okay, I see Olivia is here. So can you say hi to our class, and can you introduce yourself? You're from California, right?
Yeah, it's 7:30.
I'm so sorry, and thank you. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be back. Yeah, I just
noticed
that I'm the earliest batch. So hi everyone, I'm Olivia. I'm from MSBA class of 2018, and currently I'm in California working in TikTok. So I'm currently a data scientist in the TikTok ads team. So my job is to help my company to evaluate how effective our ads is. So advertisement is the major income source for most of social medias. So ads measurement is also very important for us to understand how good our advertisement can help us to gain the revenue and satisfy the customers. So my job is to use the data analysis skills, and also including all different kind of communication skills, like in writing or in just talking with different cross-functional teams to help them understand about the business. And the most important thing is our job is to communicate the vague information into an actionable items. And also for those who doesn't have the data background, our job is also to help them understand about the big picture. So yeah, it's really happy to be back.
All right, so good to see you, Olivia. I have Nodi here, so can you please introduce yourself with us?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Professor Lee, for having me in your class today. So I am from MSBA class 21. Last summer, I worked for an economic consulting company called Analysis Group as an analyst intern. I was lucky enough to get an offer to return, and I am looking to start in January. So my job at Analysis Group is mostly about doing a variety of data analysis related to financial and antitrust litigation cases. So there's a variety of tasks that need to be done, including, of course, analytical jobs. Also, I review documents, produce analytical exhibits to present in court. There are a lot of different cases, but for now, I am mostly just involved in financial and antitrust cases. So yeah, I'm very excited to have a conversation with all of you today.
All right, thank you, Nadi. Okay, I think I have Emma too. So Emma, can you please, if possible, turn on yes and introduce yourself with us?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Emma. I am a MSBA student in Simon. I'll graduate at the end of this year. So in the past summer, I finished the internship with Amazon, being a data engineer, and I got a return offer. Currently, I've been working as a full-time employee for almost a month already. Yep, so it's very nice to join today's meeting, and feel free to ask me any questions about my backgrounds or my experience. Happy to share. Thank you.
Yes. Before I forget, for those of you, the speakers, I remember many of you, several of you started as an intern and you got, not surprisingly, not got the return offer as a full-time position. So if you possible in your, answers to my questions that I shared with you, I hope you can share more specific tips or details about how you think you quickly moved from the internship position to full-time position for those of you who have gone through that. Okay, I do have Jessica right here. So Jessica, can you please introduce yourself to us?
Hi everyone. Hi Professor Lee. Long time no see.
Yes, 好久不见.
So I am currently working for IRI. I was a summer intern as a strategic analytics analyst this summer, and I returned already in December, and I have been working full-time for this company for about a month now, and I am a last year batch, so I'm pretty like 1 year older than most of you. And feel free to ask any questions about how I converted my offer, how the interview process goes. I'm happy to answer.
Sure. Thank you for coming, Jessica. Okay, Michael, you are here. Please say hi to us and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody. My name is Michael. Sorry for coming late.
It's okay.
My laptop is very slow today, and it's also very cold in my house. But as an introduction, I'm class of 2021. I just finished this past July. I didn't do the internship track, and I didn't have an internship lined up neither for the summer, but luckily I was able to apply from a friend's referral and get a job at Accenture. And my position is a consultant analyst. What I'll be doing, I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll be starting in early next year, like Nodi. I'm just taking this time to relax because Simon was a lot of work, but I'm just taking my time to relax. So yeah, that's what's happening right now.
For you.
That's right.
Thank you.
First question, because I'm teaching communication class and this is management professional communications class, before we talking about job hunting situation, I want to quickly move on to the question about your communication skills at work. So how do you find the importance of communication or presentation skills in your professional field? Olivia, can you share first?
Yeah, I think I do have a story to share. Yeah, so it was 2018, the summer of 2018. So I was just graduated and I just moved to New York City to find a job. It has been about 2 months since there was nothing to hear back. So I was living in Jersey City, and all the apartments, like they're tall buildings. So that day I was on my way. I think I was on my way to do the grocery shopping. And there's another, it's my neighbor in the same level, but I've never talked to him and never saw him before, but he was on his way to walk his dog. So we were in the same elevator, and then I held the door for him, and that's how the conversation started. And I just talked to him that I was looking for a job and the life wasn't so easy and just complain. And then he started to talk so that's why I want to say that is like when you are doing the job hunting, you have to be ready for every occasion. So that's why there's something called elevator pitch. So that's something you have to, elevator pitch is that assume that you're on the elevator with the like higher level or vice president in your company or any industry. So you have about 5 minutes to pitch yourself, to like either to get a job or to accomplish something, to persuade somebody to provide some opportunity to you. So for that, you have to prepare for like this elevator pitch has to be clear and short, and to be very specific about what you want. And also you need to show yourself your advantage and how you can, like when you talk to somebody, you have to show somebody, I can help you solve this problem, or I can bring this to you. So that's what I did. So I didn't realize it was the elevator pitch. I thought it was just random chat. But after that, I talked to him about my background, what I was been doing in the past 3 months. And then he started to say, yeah, he's actually from Moody's Analytics. And he's like, he's a vice president. He said, my team is hiring. Could you just share my resume? And then at that night, I just shared her resume and I got my first interview with Moody Analysts. But I didn't got in, but that's how I got my first interview in New York City. So that's why I wanted to share that story to everyone. So you have to be ready for every occasion. So New York City is full of opportunity, but opportunity is only for somebody who's ready to get it.
That's a great point.
So I want to share a basic question with you that has been asked to me a lot of times ever since I started working in my current role, which is whenever I come up with an analysis or a report, my manager, he will ask me, so tell me what this report signifies in one simple sentence. And I think that really is the very definition of what I'm doing, because I can do the best analyses in the world. I can create the fanciest of charts, but if I'm not communicating my insights and my findings in a simple term for non-technical audiences, it's no good.
That's right.
It's as simple as that. It's no good. So in my day-to-day job, I have to understand data because I work closely with IRI people. IRI is one of our vendor partners who help us research data and find out, what's going on.
Jessica is right there.
Yeah, Jessica's right there. I actually reached out to Jessica a few weeks ago because I was working on the IRI platform and I was having some difficulties with that. So, but yeah. Once I find those information from IRI, the next step of my job is to communicate that to the audiences. Let's say that could be the brand team within our company, that could be revenue growth management team, all these sorts of people who are not necessarily well versed in the world of data.
That's right.
So communication is 100% important when it comes down to that. You guys might think that it's you have to dumb down a lot of things, and forgive my language, but you might have to do that exactly because it's all about simplifying and translating whatever you see out there in the data.
That's right. Thank you for sharing that.
It's not a story, it's like a day-to-day basis, but from the beginning, it was during when I was an intern during my undergrad. One of my first mentors in life, he taught me that, he asked me to explain a presentation I created. He's like, don't worry, explain it to me like I'm a Labrador or a 3-year-old kid. He's like, trust me, it's not the brains that got me over here. And that guy actually got his PhD from Oxford at 25. So clearly that guy wasn't me. So the whole thing is like, my whole thing is I have to meet the executive team every Thursday and have to present them. So I'm the only one in that team who actually knows what data is. They don't know what Python is, what code I'm writing, nothing like that. So I have to explain them in a way that they understand, and they don't understand code. So I know all what happens is, I'll give an example. It's like a month ago. So the director calls me and he's like, I want this pattern, I want a chart which shows me what the growth has been. So it took me 8 hours to create one chart.
Oh.
And it took him 8 minutes to make a decision out of that chart. So the ability is the 8 hours don't matter. The last 15 minutes, then when you create that final chart is the one, how you present it matters, because all of the decisions are going to be based out of that whole analysis you've done. And it's how easily you present it is actually what matters. So I think most of the skills that I acquired about presentation was through Professor Lee's class. At the same time, it's the important thing is not what you're coding on the back end. It's like how you're presenting it, because 90% of your job force or the people you're meeting, they don't know what the code is, what the code means, what's SQL, what's a join. They don't know what pandas is. What are you doing? All they know is what you're presenting them. All they know is numbers. So you got to present a number in a way that the other person understands and can make a decision out of it. And make it as easy as possible. Trust me, if you think if you write something complicated and the other guy's gonna be impressed, that is the opposite of it. You're gonna confuse him. Make it as easy as possible, and talk as if you're talking to a kid. Think the other guy, he may be the CEO or chairman, he doesn't know anything. And trust me, if he is the chairman, he has that attitude. Explain it to me. I want to learn from you. Tell me what everything you know.
That's right.
Have that attitude when you're presenting.
Right.
I think everybody already said really great things. I just want to add a small thing, a small aspect of the communication skills that you need. It is the ability to ask questions. So I know that, you know, this is true for a lot of professionals. When you start a job, you would realize how much you don't know. And the only thing you can do to make up for that lack of skills and knowledge is to ask your coworkers. And in order to be able to ask questions, you have to listen. At first I was struggling to, you know, come up with something to ask. My co-interns, they were asking a lot of questions and I was just sitting here sweating. I was like, oh, what am I going to ask? Like, I don't want to be just quiet. And then gradually I realized that in order to keep the conversation going, in order to ask a good questions, and again, there's no bad question, but in order to ask questions, you really have to listen to what the other person is saying. And this is not only for workplace conversation, it's also for like a daily basis conversation as well. You know, nobody wants to have a conversation when the other person keeps talking about themselves. The conversation only goes on if there are questions coming from both of the sides. Like I said, to be a good presenter, you also have to be a good audience. And I think the ability to ask questions is also a very important thing that you should pay attention to.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Nodi. Emma.
I do have one point to add on. So the most important thing I found, well, it's not most important, but one of the other important things I found people haven't pointed out is increase your visibility during the organizations. So it doesn't matter how much work you have doing, you must be great so you can get into the company. But every company will like divide it into like a small org or small teams, so people might not knowing you. So in order to increase your visibility, it's very important to give a proper speech or proper presentations, or just write a good report for your manager to share that report during under the same org. Whenever people found like, oh, I have a good project, I have a good proposal, I don't know who will be the good candidate to do that. And that will be the points people come across your name and maybe will reach out. So that will be a very good point for you to add on to your promotion documents, or just help you to build in the long way.
Okay, I wrote down your recommendation. Increase your visibility. Navera, I realize you're here. I didn't hear from you, so I couldn't ask you to come, but you're joining here. I think behalf of Nazif. She's also a recent graduate from Simon. Oh my gosh, good to see you. Are you in the
yeah, Nazif forced me on. Yes, I'm Navera. I'm working at Barnes & Noble right now as an analyst for the digital finance department. I work in New York City, and it's been fun up till now, but I was listening to a lot of things that you guys were saying. Communication has been something that was key, because like Vedant, I'm the only person in this team who has an analytical background, which is why oftentimes people come up. So my role is sort of like an internal consultant. So different departments come to me for analytical purposes. And whenever they come to me, they come with very vague ideas of what they do. And they come up and they say, we have this shipping threshold, we want to increase it, should we? And they will give you no background on it. And oftentimes you will have to ask them multiple questions like, why do you want to increase it? What's the reasoning behind it? Is your shipping cost too high? Are people not buying enough? Why are you doing this? And one thing I just learned yesterday was that even if you do spend a lot of time on that analysis, and even if you do give them a recommendation, sometimes there are some business decisions that they will make regardless of what the analytics says. So even if I gave them something which clearly said that I recommend that you don't do this, this is what the data says, there might be some other background things that are happening, which is why they will end up still doing it. The best way for that is that you can't fight them on it, because it's their decision at the end of the day.
That's right.
You can't fight them on it. All you can do is be like, okay, let me help you improve this, even if you've actually ended up going on with that decision. So what I did was that they decided that they're still going to do it. And I just said that, I can do a post-mortem analysis for you for this, just to see if your decision was good enough or not, or just to see where this decision led us.
Right.
But most of the time, it's very, very important to actually be able to communicate with them what their needs are, because oftentimes something that you learn here as well is that oftentimes they would not know exactly what they require. They would just have a question in their head and they want an answer.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your impressions about the importance of communication skills. And I know many of you recommended, knowing the scenario, knowing the situation, and deliver your insight in a easier terms so everybody can understand more comfortably. I think I got the takeaway from that. Najib also said translating broader questions to technical ones is the key. That's right. So I hope you remember this message from today's session to your class, your job hunting, your job presentation, or your professional presentation at work. Okay, let me move on to job hunting process tips. So what is something in the process of job hunting that you wish you had done differently while pursuing the master's program, MSBA program assignment? Jessica?
Yeah, sure. This is an interesting question because, when people always ask how did you succeed in finding a job, but no one asks me how what places I can improve during the process. So as for me, I think I did well in terms of networking and interview questions and process. I think I didn't do well in I didn't start job hunting earlier, so that I missed some of the opportunities. So you should keep track of the timeline and always be proactive during the process. The other thing that I can think of is maybe I should do more lead code or all those questions. I should be more put more efforts on it. My technical skills will be honed better before some of the interview. That's the two things that I can think of that I didn't do well throughout the process.
Thank you for sharing. I think our students need that, because they don't know whether what they're doing right now is good or not so good. So I think just knowing what could be done better, what can do at this point, I think that's a huge lesson for all of us.
Yeah, so speaking for myself personally, I would say that I would stress a whole lot less.
Thank you for
I was
sharing
stressing
that
a lot
upfront.
to find a job, but I mean, looking at the statistics from Simon and knowing the school that Simon is, the likelihood of you getting a job is very high. just because one, the brand name, two, what you learn, and three, I mean, you're here for a reason. So I would definitely tell myself to stress a lot less. And because at the end of the day, it does all work out, and you don't get a job immediately. You eventually will, especially with the skills you guys learn here. I personally didn't even start looking for a job until my last quarter here, which I did get lucky because of a friend's referral. But so take that with a grain of salt. But I did start it late, but I was stressing a lot. But going to the career center helped a whole lot too. Just talking to my advisor week by week, she helped calm a lot of my nerves. Yeah, I was gonna say networking goes a long way. Grades are important, but they're not everything. I would say networking is more important than grades. Yeah, not to say to fail, not care, but
you know what? That's actually a great point because our students just recently finished their fall A and they are anxious about the grades. So I'm glad you mentioned, Michael, that grade is not that important. It's more important about other things. So if you can possibly, I'm not asking you to share your GPA, but if you have any, impressions about your job hunting process, I could done better. You don't necessarily put me stress about those, specific number of your GPA. You can do other things that not make up, but other things that the employers can probably value more. So I hope you can share any of those if you have thought about that way.
I do have something like maybe it's not on the opposite side, but I do. My point is, if I got a second chance, I might wanted to learn harder. It's like everyone knows that our spring session was super busy, and during that time I was always stay up at like 2 a.m. I didn't say that I wasn't a good student. I learned very hard, but I was also chill on this. I didn't really pay attention to the GPA, so I think I would never fail my course. And that's the time everyone started to apply for the jobs, and I don't have enough time. So I was chill on my studies. But after working for about 1 and 2 years, I realized that because I didn't come with the analytics background, I'm from the finance background. I didn't know about the statistical modeling before. So Simon was my only chance to learn that systematically. After you work for several years and your project is becoming to get harder and harder, and then I realized that I need to lay a solid background when I was in Simon, but I didn't got a chance to learn that again. And then that's the time I started to learn from the online courses such as Udemy and Coursera. But I paid for the courses in Simon, which is very expensive.
That's
so
right.
if I got a second chance, I may wanted to learn harder, to ask more questions about the statistical modeling, because you will need that in the later jobs. So yeah.
Speaking of learning, that's a good point. That speaking of learning more harder, then are you saying, other than Simon, go first, data science department and take machine learning classes?
I don't believe you could have the time, but I would say
okay.
I would say if I got a chance, I wanted to go further in Simon about the courses, to ask more questions and to understand it better. I think Simon's courses would be enough, but if I get a chance, I wanted to learn more to lay a solid background.
Okay, so we do have many optional classes, I think, for our students, and if you believe, it doesn't have to be like you have to get an A for all the classes, but you can know more and learn more and apply those skills and knowledge to your work better in the future. So if you think that way, I think it's good decision that you take more classes and learn.
And I just wanted to jump in real quick here, Professor, and tell everyone that when I came into the program, I had zero knowledge of Python, SQL, R, and
thank you for saying that.
Yeah, but what I realized is that within a short span of 1 year, 1.5 years, it's not really possible to completely understand a new programming language that you did not have any familiarity with before. But at the same time, I realized that if you pick up the basics of computer programming and statistical modeling and those things, once you're in your job and you practice what you've learned in Simon, you will just eventually keep on developing those skills. And I think that's important because I'm learning new things every day, not just with SQL or Python, but even in Excel, which is quite frankly amazing, because I thought I knew Excel, but then, when you start really working with that tool, you learn a lot of things more. So always keep an open mind and, focus on that learning curve. That's what's important.
I'd like to add to Nazif.
Please.
One thing one fear I had when I was starting my new job was that maybe I don't remember anything from my program. And because I graduated in June and I started in September.
It's been so long.
Yeah, I felt like I don't remember anything. And when I actually started, there was a time when they expected me to know so much more, but it's not that they don't give you time to learn it. I'm learning 2-3 new softwares which I had never even looked at before. But the point is that you understand that how you're supposed to learn. Within the past year, we're taught so many new things that we sort of understand how we're supposed to go about the learning process. And we become self-learners. Oftentimes, I know that we're teaching ourselves before assignments. And that is something that will really help you when you're going into your office work. And like Nazif said, if you just have basics of everything, it won't be too hard to learn on top of that.
That's right. Thank you. Next question about job hunting process. So more specifically, what are the primary skills that you think your companies look for when hiring consultants or their employees or data analysts? I think many of my students look for a consultant's position or data analyst position. So which skills should students emphasize in their applications and interviews? Who can answer?
I can start off with that.
Please.
So I got my internship pretty early on in the program. I think it was in November, yes.
Yeah.
And, I honestly got lucky. And one of the reasons behind that, and now that I look back and reflect upon it, one of the reasons behind that is because I had a little bit of prior experience within the CPG industry to land a data science-based job in the CPG industry again after my master's. And that it all really comes down to that. I mean, whatever industry you're applying in or whatever role you're applying it, my recommendation would be to tailor your resume according to that job description or that job role, because essentially it's a business problem and you're targeting a specific audience within whatever company or whatever industry you're looking for. And then you tailor your resume based off of that. I'd also want to mention that, even after I got my internship, I still kept on applying to different companies just to be a part of that whole experience with everybody. And I did not get any more offers because, again, I did not tailor my resume every time. I just did not put in enough effort behind my resume after that. But, I think if I did, I probably would have landed with multiple job offers. You never know.
Okay. Anything to add?
No, I think I completely agree with Najif that you need to tailor your resume according to the job you're looking for, because the job I'm working on, I got it through a reference. My old boss was the one who referred me to this company. So when I saw the job description, I could actually relate to the topics they were trying to do, the analysis they were trying to do with the topics we were studying in class. So I think a lot of the job was involved with market analysis, and a lot of those things, the statistical analysis they were doing was something we learned in Professor Avi's class. So I try to model that thing accordingly with my resume. So when the HR or when the person, the recruiter looks at my resume, he will know, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And one of the most important things is, guys, because you can be the smartest one in the room, you can have more skills than the other guy, but if you can't present those skills, if you can't tell the other person that you have those skills and how you can use them in the job, doesn't matter what you know. The ability to market yourself is also very important. The ability to tell others, okay, I know this skill, this is where I've used it, and this is how I plan on using it with you guys or the company in question, is also very important. So you want to tell them how important of an asset you can be. These are the tools or skills and how you can actually use them. So that's another thing that also matters a lot.
Okay, thank you, Vedant. Anything to add?
Yeah, I do want to plus one. When you're applying for the jobs, so it's very important that you tailor your resume according to the job. When I was finding a job, I have three resumes. So I'm from finance background. So one is about finance, and another one is about the general data analyst, and third one is about like more specific data scientist, which will involve a lot of modeling information. So I learned that from my another MBA at a CMC, so my mentor, and he suggested me that when you're preparing for your resume, and I think that's tip really helpful. So when you're applying for the jobs and find a common job description there, and you will find some key information about what they are looking for. So for some marketing science, they may have some keywords like the Google Analytics and something like that. And for the data scientists, they may emphasize a lot about the modeling information. So when you're open a job, like job description, you can just like, I was literally copy and pasting from different companies' job description and then just put that on my resume. And like for many companies, when they're screening the resume, they have the keywords that they will search for. So you have to put that keyword specifically in your resume. If you're looking for data scientist, you just put data scientist and the modeling in your resume, and that will help you get a better score when stand out. And another one is like take every chance to ask for reference. So I'm also Chinese. Chinese students really shy, and our culture is to don't bother other people too much. But it's in America, so when you find opportunity, just shoot a LinkedIn message. When I was looking for a job, I don't care whether that's our alumni or not. I just shoot a message. You reply, that's my game. You don't reply, I will pass on to another one. You don't lose on this. So just asking for reference. And because in my company, TikTok, the reality is if you don't ask for reference, the chance for you to get an interview is pretty low, because for the people in the referral queue is long enough. So I would say that's what I want to add during job hunting.
That's a great point. I see so many nods on this one.
Like she mentioned that she has three resumes. I also kept 2 resumes, but one thing that one of my mentors helped me with was by the time you're about to graduate, you would have a huge list of projects that you worked on over the past year.
Yeah.
And what I was told was that I should keep a separate document with a 2 to 3 liner about each project. And then every time I was about to apply, I would just look at the kind of work that they do, and I would add that project, copy paste that project into the resume I was sending out. Because it could, you will go over a range of projects, and all companies are doing different kinds of work. So it could be something in machine learning, it could be purely visualizations. You need to base your resume on that, and you would have actual applied work that you've done to show for it.
Could I add one more
go ahead.
thing?
Yeah, please, Michael.
Sorry about that.
No.
I was gonna say, well, at least like being a consultant, prior to COVID, they traveled a whole lot. So another important thing is being personable. Because I was interviewed by a couple of I think they were senior managers. They usually ask themselves the question of, do I want to work with this person? If I'm in the airport or train station or Uber with this person, would I want to be with them? So being personable really helps a lot in the interviews too, just showing your personality and who you are. It was really crazy when I had my interview, because my interviewer saw some seltzer water I had on my desk, and she was like, "Oh my God, you love that water?" And I went along with it, and I was like, "Yeah, I love this water. I love seltzer water." And then we were just talking about it. And then we just went on different topics. Instead of asking me interview questions, we talked for 15 minutes about sexism, racism, dogs. So just being personable really helps as well. And communication is really important, at least I think in general in life. But yeah, they had me present for 10 minutes about extended reality and how it could be used innovatively in any industry. So I had to use my skills from MGCs to present. So just communication And presentation is really important, what they were looking for me. But yeah, those are the two things I would say as well.
I would want to actually completely agree to what he just said. I was initially looking for consulting roles as well, and the interviews I had, they looked at how you talk to other people a lot. They looked at if so. One of the signs was that if your interview went on too long, that was a sign that you were having a good conversation with them.
That's
if
right.
they ended exactly on time, that meant that they got bored. They were like, okay, we're doing what we were supposed to, but that's about it. Over here, this is something. So my last I had 5 interviews in the same company, and the 5th interview was with the vice president. And she told me a few days ago is that one of the reasons she hired me was because I had a very fun conversation with her. Because since I'm an internal consultant, I'm supposed to deal with a lot of different departments who I've never met before. And if I can't talk to them and have a normal conversation with them, then I won't be able to do this role. This is something that they would look at during interviews a lot, is that if they can actually communicate with you and talk to you.
Is this person likable that I want to work with for at least 5 years and 10 years? Do I want to have lunch with this person or not? Yeah. Do I want to have beer with this person or not? Chanhang, is that your question related to this specific topic?
Yeah. First, thank you for all share useful experience with us. I have 2 questions. Before when we saw that from LinkedIn or the job description, there's some keyword we wanted to add it into our resume. But I have heard from recruiter told me that sometimes their job description will not change over year and year. So if we are just according to the job description from the website to improve our resume, we will find that the skills we provide is not their company was searching for recently. So this is a tricky thing. I didn't decide how to added some keywords in my resume. This is the first question. And second question is about the order of preparations for interview or job searching. From now, I know that GPA is important, and for preparations, there are 3 parts. I think the first part is about the coding skills. You need to practice in lead code or SQL or Python or something. This is for the coding part. And second part is about the theory. What is A/B test and the strength or weakness for this, and this is the example for the theory part. And the second part is about interview questions, behavior questions. They are quite different things, and it is useful and necessary to prepare for interview for job searching. So actually we still have courses, right? As for me, I have 2 courses in the 4B semester. So it's really difficult for me to keep the balance between prepare different kinds of things. And yeah, so could you guys please give me some suggestions or
Yes.
That's for my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chana. Okay, anyone? Jessica.
Yeah, I think it really depends on industries and job functions. I can speak from consulting industry. I feel like they don't value your coding skills that much in the interview process. They value your personality and how you answer those behavioral questions and your abilities to solve cases. Maybe it's more important how you can talk about your projects without the interviewer knowing them before is much more important than coding skills in consulting industry as an analyst. Yeah, but it would be different in different fields.
All right. Problem solving skills rather than coding skills. Okay, that's a good lesson.
So I think one of the things that I found very important for my interview process is the ability to talk about your experience in great details. And same with just what Jessica said before, I am also from a consulting industry. So they didn't really ask me a lot of case questions, not a lot of technical questions either, but they asked me so much about whatever I wrote on my resume and my cover letter. So I would say, when you start the interview process, review all the materials that you submitted to the recruiters, because they are for sure gonna ask about that. There is this VP who interviewed me, and the whole interview was just about one project that I did, literally just one project, no other kinds of questions. And whatever I said, he followed up with it. And it was so scary, because whatever I said in the interview, it becomes a challenge for me.
That's
so
right.
Come to the interview process with preparation, be over prepared. And whatever you wrote on your resume or your cover letter, you need to choose the projects or the assignments that you know you will be very confident to talk about. Don't pick something that sounds cool, but you don't know what you're going to talk about. Pick something simple even, but you know that you can every question about it. And one of the very good questions that I was asked a lot about my experience, they would ask me, okay, look at this project. If you had a chance to do it again, what would be some different things that you did about that project? So prepare for that question as well.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one point that
Thank you. I think Olivia can add more.
I think I can answer Cheng Hang's first question.
Yes.
So she mentioned that for some company, they don't update about the job description for a very long time. But so that's why I said I opened tons of job descriptions from this like in the same industry. So for one company, they don't update, but for other companies, they will notice some updates. And for those companies who are looking for a job, the reason behind this is that the key personality they're looking into this candidate, they don't change. So it won't change that much. So you still can put those keywords into your resume. And for the second one, for the coding skills, communication skills, I would say it really depends on the industry. So I was working in tech company for during the past 3 years. We comparing to the consulting company, which emphasizes a lot about your past experiences or what you write in your resume. So our interview process is like the top 10 minutes is about the chatting about your background. And then we'll just move on to the case study. So case study is not the consulting case. It's about the product case. So for example, the vague questions that the product manager asks you about, there is a significant drop in one key matrix. How would you handle that? That's a vague question, but you have to break it down into more specific details about that. What kind of matrix are you going to use? How do you troubleshooting your problems? And how do you handle that problem when communicating with different cross-functional teams? And then after that, we emphasize a lot on the coding skills. So for every tech industry companies, we have at least one round of SQL coding. Like you will share screen, like during the virtual interview, you will share screen with the interviewers and they will just see you coding. So they will give you an open question and provide a database and you just ask you a question and you just code. And during the normal time, it was whiteboarding. So you were both in a room, they have the whiteboard and you just use your, first communicate about what you thought and then just write the code on the whiteboard. That's a Google's culture. You may be heard of it. And a SQL is 100% if you want to find a job here. But for Python and R, it depends. So probably they won't ask you to code about the modelings, but they will ask you a basic question like, how do you handle the data set? So you need to use the pandas package or a NumPy, and that depends on the company. So some could be very difficult and some just like using the pandas or something.
Good, very helpful answers. I want to move on to networking question. How did you reach out to Simon alumni? I remember Olivia, it doesn't necessarily reach out to Simon alumni. So any networking tips, especially for this difficult time?
I can start with that. Okay, so I think networking is one of the most important skills that you will learn, and it's also important when it comes to job hunting, because I, for one, got my job through networking. So I got my job through my old boss, who I was working for in 2018, and he was the one who referred me for this job. And it doesn't hurt. Like most of the interviews I actually got were through a reference, through a friend or anything else. Because what happens is normally they'll get 1,000 piles of resume every day. And if you get through a referral, you can have a different list altogether. So that's something they review, because it's something that they're like, okay, an employee cadence or something that they believe that might help out, because it's a referral given through the internal company. Even if you're an introvert, even if you're not comfortable talking to people, doesn't matter, guys. Just go on LinkedIn, connect with as many alumni as you can, connect with people you know who are working in a different company. Not necessarily, they don't need to be a Simon alumni. They can be your friends working in a different company or Simon alumni. You can connect with me. If I can help, I will definitely love to help. But sure, networking is the key factor in finding a job, because trust me, it's easier to have yourself referred by someone than to just go blatantly and then waiting for a answer, submitting your resume. So yeah, networking and a very crucial step. Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce our recent graduate. Prama, I want you to introduce yourself and briefly talk about what you're doing at your company.
Sure, definitely. Thank you, Professor. Hello, everyone. I'm so sorry I got a bit late. My last meeting got a bit pulled over.
I understand.
But very happy to meet you all. I am currently working with EY. I am working as a senior consultant in the financial services. And I am working mostly in the fintech space with all advanced data analytics and blockchains. That's what I'm currently working on. My recent project was with one of the big banks, and very happy. I'm ready to answer any questions you have, ready to guide you in whatever way best possible. Happy and look forward to this.
Yes, we have gone through some questions about, what elements they should put in their resume or cover letter, and what's the tips about interview process and networking process. And I will soon open the Zoom breakout rooms. So if they have specific questions about the industry related questions, that they can directly chat with you. Okay.
Absolutely.
But you have gone through a lot of, interviews, and you chat with other, industry companies. I believe you can answer to any questions that our students ask. So now we are talking about networking suggestions. And I had one question directly from one of my students, and who wants to know, can you ask about, cold messaging on LinkedIn and tips on it. So do you have any tips about LinkedIn messaging?
I would say that it's a very good question. Cold messaging, I would say it's good, but then it's like a double sword. Various times you'll find when you reach out to the people, they do not interact. They just block you, or they'll just be not interested in speaking with you. But what you can do is, always when you are sending the request to them, and there is this, always have a special note to when you are sending up the invite to that particular person. In that, always include this line that I would like to introduce myself. And then generally people accept that your request, and then they'll give you a chance. Once you accept that, you should be thankful for them to they accepting it. And then you should put down your message, whatever research you have done for that particular person, and then you should put forth it. Once he catches that, when I would say the frequency matches, he'll definitely be helpful to you to make progression in any way, not just turning into a job, but at least by helping you out to understand about the company, the team, the kind of projects that they are working on, as well as on the resumes as well. So cold calling, I would say, is always good, but it's like you have to be very smart about that.
Okay. Anything to add from rest of you, or any networking tips related to that?
So I have something to add, but I kind of want to go to a different direction.
Sure.
So I know we all talk about how important that is to get a referral, and how important to cold messaging people and build connections. So I am not an introvert, but it always make me feel uncomfortable to ask for referral. Actually, I reached out to Olivia before in LinkedIn, and we talked, but I never I never been able to ask for the referral at the end. I just not that type of person. So I just want to let you guys know that it's okay. You don't get any referral or you feel uncomfortable to ask for a referral. Things will work out. I actually eventually get 3 internship opportunity. And I feel like as soon as you will be able to get the technical and the non-technical skills, and you apply as like tons of opportunity. For me, I apply more than 200 positions. So definitely have a referral is great, but if you cannot do that like me, don't make yourself a hard time. Like that is all right. I just want to let everyone know about that.
Okay.
I want to add to that. My job is not through a referral. I actually got this job through Simon's resume book, weirdly enough, but I was contacted by the recruiter. I didn't apply for this job.
Oh,
and
Barnes & Noble?
Yeah, I never applied for this job. And they contacted me with a completely different job description, and they asked me to look over it. I had a call with them. I liked what they told me, but their job description was very vague at the time. And when I actually did start working, so my job description, it changed during the interview process. I was being considered for another job originally, for another position originally, and I ended up going into a different position entirely. But like she said, yes, referrals are important, but not all of us can get them. I did eventually get referrals. I interviewed for PwC, and that was through a referral. I went to the final stages, but even without that, you don't necessarily need to find a referral through an alumni. That was through a recruiter. I talked to a recruiter, and she's the one who referred me ahead. And you can talk to people from your undergrad universities, you can talk to people from Simon alumni, you can talk to professors as well. And not just that, you can, and I understand that sometimes it's hard to actually ask for a referral. If you have a meaningful conversation with the network, with someone you're networking with, they might actually say that they'd be willing to refer you. You don't have to necessarily outright ask for one.
Yes.
And I just want to jump on Navera's point and mention that I did not get a referral for the company that I'm currently working in. I was not reached out to by a recruiter either. I did mine the old-fashioned way. I just went to their website, put on my resume in there, and then I got called for the job. But the important thing is that even when you're interviewing for this, if you have reached out to people within the industry, within the Simon alumni group, to your professors, you know the kind of things that these people are typically, the recruiters are typically looking for in an interview, right? You know to use the right words, you know to structure your story in the right way, and those are important skills as well. So don't solely judge networking in terms of whether or not you got a referral or not. Okay, there's still a lot more things that you can learn from your alumni, even if they don't necessarily end up giving you a referral.
Thank you. I just want to add on that. I totally agree. The purpose of reaching out is not always end up as a referral, or referral is not most important things. So for me, I use these methods just to learn about the industry, or to learn about what people like, what kind of experience those current employee have that I don't have, or what kind of online courses they have been taking that I might will have the same interest to take those certificates or online training as well. So I use that as a way to learn and to get more knowledge about the industry or the company, or just a specific position.
Olivia, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, just a short thing. So Don't take the networking that's to be specific, asking for referrals. So not every networking can end up with having a referral. It's not because you are not good enough. It's sometimes the company don't have a like suitable position for you. But when you're networking, you're like gaining the personal relationships with the alumni or just like random people from LinkedIn. But you can learn a lot from those peers. And then when you're communicating with them and building a relationship, when the opportunities comes, and they will think about you. So take it as a long term. Don't be that to be too short.
Time to wrap up this session, but I do expect, for today's speakers that you will accept and you will continue to help my students because they are special and I want them to succeed in their career, their professional lives too. I just want to ask each of you if you have any last message to my current students as Simon.
I would say if there's anything you can take out from me today when you walk out this meeting will be grade doesn't mean anything. And I don't emphasize on my grade when I was in assignments. I prioritize my my work because we all know we're busy during this time. So knowing what knowledge you know and what knowledge you don't know about the industry was looking for will better for you to prepare what kind of documents or training material you need to take. And most of the time, well, for me, it's not exactly what Simon was offering. Like some do, but some don't. So in order to get landed on your dream job, you need to know what would be the best approach for you to prepare. So in that case, grade doesn't mean everything. You just, as long as you had like not getting too bad, you should get around with that. The other thing I feel like is prioritize things. As I mentioned earlier, we're so busy and there are different things we need to work on, different knowledge aspect like codings or technical background like knowledge or like behavior questions like story we need to prepare. So use your time wisely, know which ones you are missing the most and start with there. Yeah.
Guys, feel free to reach out to me if you want any help. I'm always open for helping you out. And I know study is important. Master is not like your undergrad, but still try to enjoy the time you have at Simon, because trust me, masters, if you're not mature, it will make you a mature person in the future. But in the end, try and enjoy the moment you have. And like Michael said, in the end, it will all fall in place.
My only major thing to say would be that know who you are. Okay, you're not expected to be data scientists for most of your cases. I mean, some of you obviously might end up in a data science role, but most of you, statistically speaking, should end up in a business analyst role. And that's where your communication skills come in, because if you're not communicating your findings properly in a business setting, you're actually not going to make any sense to most of the people within the company. Okay, so that's important. Focus very hard on your communication class. I know that I had a lot of major takeaways from Professor Lee's course that I still use today in current job. So, remember that. Okay, coding is important, but presenting your analyses and your research in simple terms is more important.
I would like to make 2 points. First point is what everybody else has said. I couldn't agree more. Second point is, this is personally from me and from my experience. Don't stress yourself out too much. It will work out eventually, not now, not in the near future, then in the far future. So, your timeline, I said this in the breakout room as well, your timeline doesn't have to be like everybody else's timeline. If you don't get a job by the end of April, you get a job by the end of August or even December. It's totally fine. So just keep doing it, keep your heads up, and then it will be fine. If you want to get a job here in the US, you will get a job here in the US. If you want to get a job back home, you will get a job back home. So just be confident in yourself and everything will work out.
That's right.
I really want to echo what Nodi said. So I didn't come with an analytics background. I don't have enough like analytics background in like anything like coding. I only know there was a thing called lead code on September. So you know how late I started. So I think one thing I want to add is like start early. So I didn't do that much networking at that time. I didn't start very early. So at that time, I thought spring session was busy enough. So I don't want to start at that time. And I thought I wasn't ready because I don't know enough statistical background. How can I start to interview with other company? Mm-hmm. So that's why I only started when I moved to New York City at June 2018. And if I can get a second chance, I think I may start earlier. And also echo to Nadi. So your time will come. So before your time comes, just all you can do is just prepare yourself to the best you. So I have my classmate, she found the internship in a big name on June, right after graduation. So everyone envies her so much. But I during that time, during my dark time in New York City, I was like, why couldn't I find a job? I've been literally, I was applying for jobs. Like I was sending a resume for almost 1,000 companies. I'm doing that every morning. So like that was the darkest time for me. So I've been applying to so many companies. So I couldn't handle, just got one single interview. So, but like, and I got my job pretty late. That was almost past Thanksgiving and got my offer at Google. So I would say that's half a year later compared to my peers, but my time will come. So during that dark time, I didn't give up. So I started to talk to my peers about how should I switch myself to prepare my interviews and doing the mock interviews with my classmates. And I would say your classmates are your best friends to doing the mock interviews. And also keep practicing, keep learning, and your time will come just sooner or later.
Thank you, Olivia.
Yeah, I mean, everybody here said amazing things so far. Adding on like away from the theme a bit is like just to be grateful and don't take things too personally. Even if it's just 3 to 5 minutes a week, like just be grateful for the fact that you're in a grad school program, able to learn these things, and you're having these type of problems. Like we're currently in a pandemic right now where so many people are getting sick or so many people are dying. So just like reminding yourself of the fact that you're here right now and you have this opportunity, like it's amazing. So don't take things too personally, be grateful. Also, if people don't respond to you, that's okay. Like it's a pandemic. So many people are going through things that they don't want to share with others. So just keep that in mind as well. And yeah, just be positive. That's all I would say.
So I just like to add, everyone said amazing things. It's still a university experience, and I don't think most of you plan to do another degree after this. Make friends, because when you actually do leave these places, and most of you are going to be moving to different cities, you need to have friends. A lot of these who are sitting here, we're actually friends. We have a separate WhatsApp group, which is very active right now because of this. And you need to have friends. You need to be able to talk to people. You need to be able to have someone who you can sit and do assignments with and study for an exam. And try to go to the events that Simon has. This is something that I sometimes regret that we didn't do. We went to a few of them and we went really late. Nodi knows that really well, that we ended up going to an event really late. MBAs usually end up going to them, but we don't because we feel like we have a lot of workload. Yes, we do, but you need to make time for these things because that's also a great opportunity to network, and B, you get to have fun. You won't get that chance when you start working again.
Yeah.
And what Olivia said, don't look at other people's timelines. I graduated in June and my friends were starting internships by then, and I was looking for a job. And there came a point where I was starting to get really demotivated because I wasn't even heading back for interviews, not just like, it's not like I was getting an interview and I got rejected. I just wouldn't get an interview. And you can really get demotivated because of that, but don't let that get to you. Because like Michael said, at the end of the day, you're all UFR students. It's a name, you will eventually get somewhere.
That's right.
Guys, it's like I agree with everything which everybody has said. I agree with each of those points. And absolutely, this is the best time you guys are going to have over here. And moreover, my first mentee had told me this, that majority of us will be moving to a bigger city. So enjoy Rochester. It's one of its kind of a city. You'll find it over here. Enjoy your grad timing over here. It's gonna be wonderful. You'll end up the job that you would want to be. Maybe the first job, maybe the second job, but eventually you'll make your path in that. Be active on your networking side, be active on your technical side, but definitely enjoy the winter in Rochester. Enjoy all the time you have, the fall ball, everything, each and everything you enjoy over there. You'll have a great blast. And to add to everything over here, for all those people who find it difficult for the networking part of it, I would suggest that's what I did it at the very beginning. I started reaching out to the people whom I have known personally. Maybe my friend, maybe somebody, Professor Lee, or anyone whom you know personally who may have come down to United States, not only in University of Rochester, but anybody else in the other university. Start reaching out to them. You'll eventually gain confidence to do all, reach out to each and everyone wherever you want to be.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your precious time with me and my students. I am so thankful that I could see you after 3 years after your graduation, 2 years and 6 months after your graduation. I still can see each of you even virtually for my class, and thank you so much for my speakers. And now I want to call them my friends. I'm here. I'm sad to seeing people leaving in Rochester, but I can always recall them, for my class and for my students. So come back anytime and let me know. Okay, so I'm gonna end our class, guest speaker session. If you want to chat with me after the session, just, you can remain here so we can chat a little bit more. All right. Thank you so much for my students. I hope you learn a lot of tips and information from this session.